context of what I think might be a good time. And then we'll dive in. And then we'll dive into a little bit more of an experiential embodiment practice. And I have some exciting announcements I'm also going to share today. So to begin, let's just be in the inquiry of what this is really about today, connecting, feeling connected to ourselves, to our most intimate purpose and place in being here, and really discovering more fulfilling, enlivening relationships with the people we care about in our lives, with this phase of evolution on the planet, and really grounding and sourcing ourselves in what I think of as our sweet spot of belonging. So to settle in, what I want to suggest is just start to locate yourself. Feel your sit bones on the seat that you're sitting on, and just start to let the breath descend into your lower body. Like literally, you might just squirm around, squiggle around a little bit in your seat and feel those 2 points of your sit bones, and let your attention start to drop. If you like, you can close your eyes and just be in this opening inquiry of, where am I? Can I feel my breath? Can I feel the ground supporting me right now? And it can be really helpful to just let out some exhales, some audible exhales of any excess energy or tension in the body. Just literally giving your organism the permission that it's safe right now, just to let go into the ground beneath you. And I also find it very helpful in locating ourselves is to bring some touch somewhere around your hara, your navel center. So if you would like, let your hands come under your clothes and actually make some skin to skin contact. And just receiving your touch, feeling your touch on your belly. And inviting your breath to deepen down into your touch contact on your belly. Continuing to let out some audible exhales, some sighs, allowing your weight to start to just melt down into gravity, into the ground. Start to notice the space beneath your sit bones, feeling the palms of your feet open on the floor beneath you. Or if you're sitting cross-legged, just noticing the ground beneath you. And as much as you can, just let your weight drop and let go of any gripping, unconscious holding in the body. Letting in the felt sense that in this moment, I am supported. Giving yourself the permission in this moment, there's nothing I need to do. Nothing other than just tending to the felt sense of my body, sitting here, hearing Ajaya's voice. And let my voice take you into that space inside where you feel most yourself, most home. So on your in-breath, there's a quality of a kind of a self-embrace, a kindness, a warmth, a tenderness. As you breathe in from your belly and expanding up through your whole torso, up through your chest, your heart. And as you exhale, again, just a sense of descending, feeling held by gravity. And feeling through your touch the sensation that I am here. And if you like, you can even just whisper the words to yourself. I am here. Feeling yourself here. And oftentimes when we're settling, when we're finding a deeper arrival, we might be bringing little streams of our attention that are maybe located more in the past or oriented to the future. And we're just inviting all those little tendrils to land right here, right now, in this body, in your touch, in your breath. And take a moment and just feel what's alive in your heart today, what brings you to this meeting. Perhaps there was something in my messaging, in my invitation that touched you or invoked some curiosity. And see if you can just let your heart open a little bit more to that desire of what you want for yourself here today. And you can bring the other hand and just take a moment and say hello to your heart. Feeling your touch on your chest, on your heart. Hello, my beautiful heart. Welcoming your heart's desire, what you want for yourself. Welcoming that into the space. And we'll just take a couple more deep breaths, just feeling the breath flowing between your belly center and your heart center. Just being curious about how you might open and allow yourself to occupy that space a little bit more. Beautiful. So as I start to open up and share a bit more about some context, I encourage you all to listen, to be here from this space of your core as much as you like. Just kind of experiment, explore. Can I listen from here? Can I receive from here? So even as you begin to gently start to open your eyes and just let in a little soft gaze of light and textures, see if you can stay with you on the inside and just receiving rather than so much about coming out to receive. So I just plant that seed as a curious exploration for you as much as you like. So you might want to just rub your hands together, generate a little heat, bring some touch around your eyes, your forehead, be a little massaging of the ears. Hello, body. Beautiful. So I've been sharing a bit in my newsletters and my posts around this theme of being connected, feeling connected, and this experience that we have, what we could call connection, as a really as a survival imperative. It's a neurobiological need and imperative that we have as human beings to feel connected, literally from conception all the way through our last breath. It's really the basis of how we're wired, how we're here. And I wanted to share a bit about what I think of as like a core paradox that we have, at least at this phase of evolution on the planet. So we have this neurobiological need, literally from our early development. It's what gives us the felt sense that I exist, I matter, I'm here, I belong. And the way that we experience this need being met as little beings has to do with being attuned to, having eye contact, skin contact, loving attunement. And basically it lands as a quality of a balance of true contact and also space to be ourselves. And so for a lot of us, this need wasn't necessarily met so well. And, some traditions, the Hopi call this the sacred wound. John Wildwood calls this the wound of the heart. It has a purpose. So I want to unpack this a bit and just naming that as little beings, we come in again with this archetypal kind of knowing of exactly what we need to develop and to grow and to become who we came here to be. And when that need of feeling connected, feeling loved, feeling a sense of belonging isn't met so well, or to the degree that it is, I think even if your parents were saints, there's still going to be some loss or lack of attunement. It's not going to be perfect. And how that lands in us as little beings is that somehow something's wrong with me. There's a miss or a rupture. And we start to internalize that as a felt sense of deficiency, of lack. And we start to literally defend or foreclose or contort around our life force, because our life force is rising up and saying, hey, I've got these needs. And we're looking to our environment to respond and to basically celebrate us, celebrate who we are, see who we are. Now, if over time we experience over and over that somehow who we are and what's arising as our natural organic experience isn't really wanted by our environment or isn't really met or celebrated, we learn very quickly how to contort, how to split, how to leave basically our own authenticity to bond with our environment, because as little beings, we can't survive without that attachment bond being intact. And so we will do whatever we can to secure the attachment bond with our environment, and we'll basically call it love. And then as we go through life, we continue to oftentimes keep recapitulating this same felt sense of that original bond. Now, that's another subject that I actually am not going to really go down that path right now. What I want to continue to kind of tease out with you is that this beginning stage of this core sense of somehow there's something wrong with me, I'm not enough, some sense of lack, what some traditions call the core deficiency. As we continue to grow and develop, we will compensate for that and we will try to be more or get more or have more. And we will take on sort of compensatory identities or behaviors or habits to try to prove somehow that I am worthy, I am enough, I am lovable. And then as we go through life, we kind of go through this swing oftentimes. If you meet someone that excites you or inspires you, or there's a romantic spark, all of those unmet early needs can rise up as this kind of hope, like, oh, now finally I get to come out and play. Finally, I get to be met, or perhaps we might display this professionally. Oh, I got that book contract. Now I can really shine and show the world who I am. And now I'm going to get that approval. And then deep down, we're always in this sort of underlying anxiety that, oh, maybe people aren't going to actually appreciate me, or the thing that I thought I had, now I'm going to lose it. Or the relationship that we, thought was our dream relationship suddenly pans out to not be that, right? Or whatever the version is of life being life. And in a sense, taking the rug out from underneath us of whatever that externalized fulfillment that we've projected. And so we kind of go into this swinging of hope and fear between our compensatory identities of where we've become more, right? And then we go back into our collapsed or our deficient identity of, oh, it's true. You know, I really am broken. I really am not enough. And I think at some point, as we continue to evolve and to grow and to become more of ourselves, we get tired of this ride. And there's a longing for genuine fulfillment and genuine mutuality in our connections. And, you know, I can say for myself in my own journey that how I learned to deal with, and I had amazing parents, by the way, who were incredibly loving and in tuning and there for me. But they were human and they had their stuff, right? So for me, I learned very early on, and for much of my adult life, I got really good at attuning to others and being the good therapist and being able to bracket my own needs, my own desires, my own body, to be able to show up and hold space for other people. And this was my way of, on one level, it was a compensation. It was a way of kind of at a pseudo level, getting some needs met for love and connection. And I also, you know, was able to really show up and be a good therapist. And I'm not saying it was all compensation. There was some genuine authenticity in there. But eventually I started to see through where I was being excluded for much of my life, where I was left out. And that really brought me into some deeper inquiry and deeper investigation and deeper ownership of, you know, how can I actually bring myself, my full, whole human, real self, authentic experience, you know, into the workplace, into my intimate relationships, into my family, into my whole life. And for me, that became an imperative. It became, you know, still continues to be a process of discovery. And I'm just naming that's been my particular flavor. And I notice most of the people who come to work with me are also, you know, service professionals, they're coaches, they're therapists, they're doctors, or they're parents, or they're just straight up human beings who, in their own way, learned how to contort, to compensate, to foreclose around their most authentic life force and their relationship to that. And they're in their own process of trying to uncover and bring home, you know, who am I really? And this brings me to the part of what I consider being connected. So being connected is where we find our deepest verticality, our genuine sovereignty, a kind of self-ownership. And, you know, if we track back to this origin story that I was sharing, let's say that we all did, or maybe some of you can relate to this, if you did grow up in an environment where your inner life was supported and your needs and your desires were relatively met, then what's going to happen? You're not necessarily going to split off from your core self. You're going to grow a felt sense of, oh, I can trust me. I can be myself. And I can grow my verticality. I can continue to foster my relationship with source, with the divine in an embodied way. And I'm really grateful to see that, you know, at this phase, there's a lot more awareness around the importance of early life and these imprints. And I think some of the new ones coming in, the new generations, are going to have a new experience. That's certainly my prayer. But for those of us who are in a process of reclaiming and recovering our totality, truly being connected, I want to just start to bridge into that right now and just share a bit about, you know, right here on the spot, how we can start to check in and attune, and in a way, start to create our own corrective environments with ourselves. So we start to let go of looking so much on the outside and expecting other people to provide for us. Again, back to these core essential needs, the need to feel true contact and the need to feel space or room to be authentic, to be ourselves. Um, there's many more core needs that I do share and unpack in larger bodies of work that I share. So I'm not going to really go into all that today, but I boiled it down, and that basically all of our developmental needs essentially come down to a felt sense of contact, true contact, and space. And so I want to just take us into a little bit of a somatic process or practice that we can start to explore again, how we can give that to ourselves. And what I notice is that when we start to provide what we're looking for, and really what we're looking for is a feeling of vitality, of aliveness, right? Of that original spark of what brought us here in our inception. And we want to feel that feeling of aliveness, of vitality in relationship to what we're waking up for every day, right? What gets us to get out of bed in the morning, what inspires us. And we want to feel that alive in the people that we're relating with in our lives. And we want to bring that, I think this is really the core of the human design. We want to be able to bring that freely, genuinely into the larger global impact, right? We want to be able to contribute from that space, have an impact from that space. So what I want to suggest is that let's back up all of that and first experience what it's like to bring it to ourselves, to, in a sense, choose ourselves first. And give ourselves that space and that contact that we desire. And just for a moment, start to let it land in our felt sense of what we've been looking for. So the way I'd like to take us into an experience of this is a little bit through some of my background in Continuum. For those of you who are new to this, I'm not going to go into a huge description, but essentially it's a practice where we can become more intimately related with our tenderness, our tender heart, with our animal body, with our very primal intelligence. And we can start to drop out of so much of our cognitive mind and our externalized sourcing. And we can start to come back into a quality of resting in our core. So does that sound like something you all might be interested in experimenting with? Cool. So what I want to suggest is you take your right hand and just for a moment, let your right and your left hand touch and just feel your hands. And let your presence start to come into your touch. And we're going to go ahead and take your right hand and just find a contact, let's say along your right cheek. So let your full hand, and you can close your eyes. I'm just going to start to guide us in. Let your full hand make contact, your full palm. I think of it as like finding a good fit. And really letting that hand make this quality of contact that's attuned for you, that feels good to you. And let your attention start to receive your touch. And you might start to notice a little more awareness of the natural movement of your breath. And we're going to start to play with this, what we call in Continuum, a double current. So we have this capacity to both feel, to receive, and also to give or to extend energy, life force. So just feeling in your touch how the palm of your hand is feeling into your face, and feel how your face is also receiving your touch. And just being with you on the inside, letting your full attention be in these sensations. Now we're going to go ahead and bring a sound, kind of an audible exhale, a vibratory sound that you'll allow. The kind of the alchemy of this is you allow your touch and your sound vibration and your awareness all to come together on the inside. So don't worry about getting the sound wrong or right. It's really just about feeling your sound, your vibration on the inside. So what I want to suggest is you make a puffy O. It's like you trap some air in your cheeks and then you slowly let this O sound out through your lips. And again, just being with your touch, the vibration as like a kind of inner massage, and your awareness all together. And we'll just do this for a minute or so. So breathing in, really filling up with your in-breath, and then slowly letting the sound, the audible exhale, move through your pursed lips and your full cheeks. So one more time. Great. So in your own organic timing, let your hand relax back into your lap and just keep your eyes closed. Let your natural breath return and just begin to sense, allow, receive the kind of an open awareness, just noticing how that right side of your face might feel a little different than your left. You might feel some tingling sensations. You might feel a little more space, almost like your skull bones are breathing. You might feel the tissues beginning to, in a way, thaw around what we have kind of a mask sometimes on our face where we hide or we conceal more of our natural affect, what we really feel. So just letting that dissolve, letting some of that thaw, allowing yourself to receive a bit more of a neutral you on the inside. So really becoming a little bit more intimate with the sensations of your face right now. And breathing into any new sensations where you feel pleasure or warmth or light or spaciousness. And you might even feel that tissue streaming down the right side of the body or back through the right skull, and just letting the breath really celebrate that. Let the breath expand into any new sensations that you're enjoying. So our entire body is connected through connective tissue. And when we start to melt or open or thaw some of the rigidity or the congealing that happens through tension, and we become more fluid again, it starts to stream through the whole body. So did everyone feel some subtle sense of opening there on the right? Great. So let's just balance this out and bring some touch, bring our left hand. And again, just find a comfortable way to let your left cheek and jaw and space around the left eye, just really kind of lean into your touch. And let your attention come fully in again, feeling this double current where your hand is receiving your face. Bringing in this quality of kindness or tenderness is really a kind of a doorway that we start to enter in. And feeling your face receiving your touch. And just breathing and feeling the warmth, letting the warmth land in you as a feeling of love. Let the warmth, let your body feel the sense of, again, I'm here, I'm with me, loving me. And we're just going to stay with our experience a little bit longer here. We're going to bring that O sound again. So when you're ready, take a deep breath. And again, the alchemy of it is your awareness, your touch, and your sound all together in the inside. So a couple more times, just being intimate with you on the inside. And when you're ready, we can let the hand gently relax again into your lap. And allowing your eyes to stay closed and your gaze just continuing to be on the inside. Allowing a nice deep full breath in. And exhaling a sense of just letting go, letting your shoulders drop. Again, feeling your sits bones on the chair. And feeling a sense of just being rooted from your base and allowing the spine to just grow out of that rootedness and let your heart open and expand a little bit. And we're just allowing ourselves to perceive, to receive the felt sense of what's happening now in the system. You might just let the jaw gently relax open, let the jaw unhinge. And again, breathing into any new sensations of pleasure, openness, warmth, light, the felt sense of inner connectivity, aliveness. And noticing any spreading of a more fluid quality down through that left side, through the skull bones, down the left neck, down the left side body. And hopefully you feel your right and left side a little bit more balanced, a little bit more evenly open. Let's just take a couple more breaths here and just take a moment with your jaw continuing to be slightly open, your hands on your lap, your sits bones nice and rooted. And let's just explore for a moment, growing our spines, the shoulders dropping, the chin dropping, the crown of the head slightly, the space above the head, just slightly growing that space. And letting the eyes soften in, most feeling in towards behind the eyes, through the ears, down through the crown of the head, just softening into the center of the brain. And then just noticing this natural emergence of your midline, of that vertical space, dropping down from the crown, through the center of the brain, down through the throat, down through the spine, down all the way into the perineum. And you can feel the other end of the axis just by gently squeezing your root, like a little mula bandha, squeezing the perineum, almost like waving the energy back up. And again, feeling from the crown down to your root. You can let the breath flow with this movement of attention. So as you squeeze the root and breathe in and let the breath move up, your awareness up to your crown. And as you exhale, let the breath wash down through that central space, just exhaling down into the ground. Beautiful. So let's just bring our hands for a moment onto our hearts and our bellies. And just taking a moment to appreciate you, whatever your experience has been today. Appreciating any new openings or felt sense of intimacy with a kind of an inner alignment of, oh, I am here. This is what it feels like to be me, to be here, to take my seat, to simply relax into my center. So appreciating that felt sense of inner alignment or verticality, lining up with yourself, feeling the ground supporting you, the space around you as a kind of embrace. And again, we'll bring our hands together, generate a little heat. And wherever you want to just bring some touch. And as you bring some touch to your body, you can just start to slowly, like very soft gaze, let the eyes gently begin to open and experiment with continuing to stay with this sense of inner spaciousness and openness and contact with you as your eyes are receiving the screen, receiving your environment. often when we are in our focal vision, it's a big way that we tend to leave our seat and we go out into the external world. So it's a beautiful moment right now to just practice. Can I be receptive? Can I be soft? Can I stay here with me and allow the moment to come to me rather than leaving me to go come into relationship with the moment? So just playing with that. Great. So now imagine walking through your life with this sense of being rooted in your base, in your pelvis, in your legs, in your feet, in your contact with Gaia. And also with this sense of this strong spine, your verticality, and somewhat of an open heart, right? And imagine the world, your relationships, the rest of your day. I invite you to continue to explore just bringing you, walking into the room, bringing you without so much of a need to prove or to push your energy out or to foreclose around your energy, just to simply rest, relax into the simplicity of here I am, right? And then from there, of course, in our human experience, we start to notice there's desires that arise, there's sensations that continue to arise, there's thoughts, there's the mental body, there's needs, biological needs, and also more emotional needs. And so, today we're just doing a kind of a brief little broad brushstroke intro. But when I go deeper with people, we start to really open up these various fields of awareness. I think of these 5 fields of awareness that really were designed to tend to in a very spontaneous, natural way. We're designed to tend and to attune to. And when I go into deeper experiences with people, what I suggest is that we tend to these fields from our heart first, from just simply being in our core and allowing our experience, literally allowing the environment, allowing our needs, desires, thoughts, feelings, sensations to simply arise in our experience from our heart first, from choosing ourselves first. And we don't have to be in the orientation so much of chasing after things or trying to meet the needs or trying to follow the desires. We can actually allow this continued quality of giving ourselves the space and the contact that we need to start to come into a deeper intimacy, a deeper listening of what's really true for me in this moment and in this moment and in this relationship and in this, and it just unfolds. And in this way, we can not live so much from our nervous systems, from a state of overwhelm and putting out fires. We can walk through our life feeling grounded and connected to a felt sense of our own sourcing. And from that space, we have a much better chance of coming into an honest and intimate rapport with the decisions that we make, with our choices, and again, with our relationships. So if this is something that you might be interested in opening up in a bigger way, in a more in-depth way, I want to just share with all of you that I'm about to start a 5-day journey of really unpacking what this is experientially in practical ways, of genuinely being connected to yourself as your first commitment, your first priority of attention. And then from there, how we start to come into healthy relating with the rest of our lives. So we're going to go on a 5-day journey where essentially I'll spend an hour each day. We'll meet live and we'll go through kind of similar to today, only in some more depth. And we'll just each day go deeper and deeper and deeper until by the end of those 5 days, my intention is that whoever is called to join me will have a much more embodied sense of how to tend to some of this rupture that I spoke of earlier, a little bit more of an intimate, compassionate understanding of maybe some of why your behaviors or your habits or your relationship stories or, some of the things in your life where you've had some biofeedback of this ongoing sense of a feeling of lack of fulfillment or lack of genuine connection. And you'll have a better sense of how to take care of you in those places and how to start to repair those places in yourself so that you can then make some different choices in terms of how you're relating with all of these precious choices and relationships in your life and have a better chance of actually having some new experiences, some new fulfilling, genuinely connected and ways of having, this word is I think very popular these days, having your sovereignty, owning yourself. And from that space, having a genuinely connecting, fulfilling dynamic with other people, but also with, your work in the world, with all the things, all the places that you show up. So there begins to be a consistency, a continuity, a congruency, or an integrity in which your whole life starts to feel literally whole, where you don't have to be one person here and put on that hat here. But literally you get to just be yourself in all the rooms you show up in. And what I've found in my experience is this really starts with showing up for you in your core first. So I guess that's it for today. I'm gonna just start to wrap this up and see, is there any questions in the chat? The link to, if anybody's interested in signing up for these 5 days, it is free. Anybody is welcome if you feel called to this. And the link is right there in the chat. If you go to that link, there's a little bit more detail. And I'm going to hang out here for a couple more minutes if there is any questions from any of you or anything you want to share about what you experienced today.
That was really awesome. Thank you so much, Ajaya. It was, I totally got the tingly feeling, and it was really fascinating to feel the difference when we started on the right side to the left side. And it felt so nice to actually balance that out. Yeah, I thank you so much. That was beautiful.
You're so welcome. I'm so happy you're here.
Me too.
Yeah, that little experiential piece, that's in a way just very introductory for people who aren't accustomed to touching themselves in this way, right? And playing with some sound. And essentially what we're doing when we facilitate ourselves in that way is we're pattern interrupting the normal way we breathe. And the normal way we breathe tends to carry a kind of a signature of how we repress and suppress our feelings. And so over time, we have breath patterns that our tissues organize around quite literally, and our felt sense, our very identity organizes around this patterning. And so we start to bring in some sounds as audible exhales that then allow a deepening of our in-breath, and we start to generate more space in which we can then begin to reorganize. And in longer sessions, we would start to explore bringing our touch various places in the body. There's different sounds we work with, sometimes different inquiries or ways we're paying attention. And essentially, it's a powerful way that we start to reorganize and can discover the emergence of that original midline, that original organizing fulcrum in which our entire body mind grew from, literally, developmentally, embryologically, and we continue to develop and grow, and we can actually participate in reorganizing. So that was just starting to show you all a little bit of a way in to where we can start to access some inner intimacy, some quiet, some stillness where we can start to feel ourselves.
Can I ask,
Yes.
you said 5 days
Yes.
and you said an hour each day.
Mhm.
Is it going to be 5 consecutive days or?
Yes, I believe we start on July 8th and we go through July 12th.
Oh, wow.
And it will be from 12:30 to 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. If you can't make the live call, they'll be recorded and you're still welcome to sign up and join the journey, and you'll get the recordings.
And I'll just thank you for this, by the way.
You're so welcome.
And personally, I'm very grateful that it's free because I'm kind of stretched financially. I found myself visiting with very early, very young little girl. And then suddenly I was sort of like about 7 or 8. And I could really feel the little body and the shutdown. And it was so nice to play with, inviting life force into that.
Beautiful.
It's
so beautiful. Yeah, it's surprising how sometimes just a little bit of kindness and tenderness and warmth and care and self-attunement and these places that are literally frozen in time in our tissues, they start to thaw and they start to come alive and we actually make contact with them. And then we can grow those places that have been frozen in time and start to let that life force come back and integrate it. So I love hearing that happened so immediately. Ganga,
It looks
did
like,
you?
yeah, I'll unmute. You can unmute now, Ganga?
Yeah, it's Ganga. Yeah.
Ganga, okay.
Yes.
Ganga.
It was for me very powerful, I have to say. The touch, I nearly felt that my cheek wanted to go totally in the hand, and the hand wanted to go to the cheek. It was such a longing in that. I have never tried it in this way, and I was yawning extremely much, and I have a lot of pain in my body continuously, so it was not so easy to feel the pleasurable feelings. So I wanted to ask you whether I still can do it, even so this is so that there's a lot of tension and pain in my body usually. But can I still do that, and will that maybe even help?
Ganga, what I would say is there's just some layers, and oftentimes we initially feel the dense layers of our armoring or our defensive structures that are in their tissues, and that's really what pain is it's just armoring or blocked life force. And so really all it is it takes a little more time to let those layers start to melt and open and feel safe. And so again, today was just a very brief introduction, and everyone's system is in a different space with this in terms of your timing and your pacing. And so if you join me, I will just encourage you to really honor where you are and let the unfolding happen based in being intimate with where you are. That's what allows the melting. So we let go of approaching ourselves with any kind of agenda or goal orientation, and we just start to develop the capacity to be with ourselves where we are. And so even if there's pain or tension, we can open our hearts to that. We can allow that to be here. And little by little, subtle by subtle, it starts to shift. And I wouldn't be surprised if you feel called to this, that, over those days, you would most likely really feel yourself enter into a very different space than where you are today. But we just go.
I really want it very much. And I also feel, I felt tears right away. I have strong reactions, but if I can just have them, it's very fine for me.
Yes, tears, yawns, sometimes the body will start to move in particular ways, unwinding starts to happen. we just come into a deeper trusting of our organismic intelligence and a deeper intimacy with that. And it's so beautiful to come home in that way.
Thank you
So
so much for doing this, Ajaya.
you
Thank
are so welcome. Really my pleasure and honor. So maybe just in terms of time, I'm gone over a little bit. Maybe I should wrap it up. Any last anythings?
Ajaya, maybe you just want to say what the link is out loud. Everyone
Sure.
can grasp that.
Yes. So it's core embodiment spelled CORE, so only one E, and then MBODIMENT.com/connected. So coreembodiment.com/connected. Make sure core embodiment, only one E.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for your company and for showing up so fully. And if you have any questions that you weren't able to ask, feel free to reach out to me privately anytime. And I hope to see you all in this 5-day journey. I'm really excited to get to go deeper in this sort of this resolution of the core paradox that I think we all experience and meet in our lives in different ways. So I welcome you and thank you all for showing up live.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'll ask you all to unmute if you'd like to say goodbye as you sign off.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love to
Bye, everybody.
all.
Thank you.
Bye for now. Thank you, Ajaya.